r/AskMen. What makes you decide to ask a girl out? Is it just seeing a girl who looks good in the right situation? Do you have to be her friend first? Or do you just start a conversation and if it goes well, ask her out right away? If there are signs of mutual attraction, I would give it a shot. If a girl doesn't show any interest whatsoever, I probably wouldn't bother. Attraction is key for me. You could be Megan Fox level of hot, and if you didn't show any interest, you wouldn't even be on my radar. But laughing at my jokes, eye contact, wanting to be around me and stuff like that shows interest, so that would probably end up having me at least show some interest back and possibly asking them out if it was the right moment. Definitely this. Also, there should be a good vibe and indications that a date would actually be fun, enjoyable. Even if I find a girl is really attractive and clearly likes me, I can rarely bring myself to date her if she's cold, grumpy, boring, or has no common interests. Such dates suck, and the potential intimacy just doesn't do it for me anyway if I don't genuinely enjoy her and our dynamic. I don't mean anything judgmental by this, just that I personally don't think those girls match well with me. Vibes matter a lot more than being pretty or liking me. I'll tell you when I actually do decide. I'm sitting on it for now. I am also debating against myself to ask a girl on a date. We had gone to school together until 6th-7th grade. Then I found out this semester that she is going to the college as me. I'm basically in the same situation, except I've known we've been going to the same college for the last 4 years and I haven't seen her in person. I'm just thinking to add her on Snapchat at the start of the next and my last semester and see what happens. Worst case scenario, she finds it weird and tells the one other person we both know in school, so there's not much to lose. Best case, I end up dating my middle school crush. Usually it's a few invisible criterias I'm not fully aware of being met. Things such as, do I feel comfortable nerding out to this person? Do I find them attractive? Can I have a nice conversation with them if I only talk to them for 5 minutes? The right combo of things all combine, and the Powerpuff Girl experiment gets done, so I ask them out. Conversation is a must, if she is beautiful, but can't keep a conversation and I can't nerd out to her. I don't need to ask her out. That's honestly how I found my wife. First girl I tried to play the long game. When you are still thinking about her in a good way after the day. I met this girl, and we bumped into each other a half-dozen times over a couple of months, and we got onto the topic of BDSM, and turns out she's a rope bunny and I'm a rigger, so I told her to meet me for a max of 2 drinks and we would go to my place and do a scene. Well, the time we spent in the bar went from what was supposed to be like 40 minutes to discuss do's and don'ts to a full-blown 4-hour date. We still did our scene, and it was the best scene either of us had ever performed. She stuck around the next day, then came over that weekend. This week we're sharing music and shit. I've been thinking about her all through the day the whole time. I'm kinda used to subs getting sub frenzy, but I've never been so gaga over a playmate before. I think I might be in trouble. She's attractive, plus I mildly enjoy talking to her for under 5 minutes equals shot being shot. Dates are for me to determine whether I'm interested in a relationship and getting to know them. I am default mildly flirty with everyone. Yeah, I'm also mildly flirty with everyone. If I'm going to ask someone out, I should enjoy having conversation with them, and dates can show whether I am actually interested in them. For me, we've gotta interact for a while. There has to be that initial spark, but beyond that there has to be some form of chemistry when we hang out. 'Cause if we start dating without seeing if we can hang out first, it may not work out very well. So it takes me ages, honestly. Because I don't want to assume that a girl is attracted to me, you know. So I wait a long time and try and drop hints. I'm terrible at flirting though, so my message almost never gets through and I wind up with a lot of regrets, but I would rather stay friends with a girl than ask her out and make things weird. I was talking to some friends of mine that are girls and they kept trying to tell me I needed to go on dates with multiple people and not be so focused on one person when I'm not even serious with that one person. I told her that it is a little different for guys, but mostly me. As a guy, we usually have to do the asking out, and for me to ask someone out I have to already be invested and very interested in them, and that feeling doesn't just come up with anyone I find cute. In her case, 3 guys might ask her out in a single week, so it's easy to just say yes to them all and see how they go. But having to personally decide who to ask out and then do it makes everything a lot different. I relate to that. I really invest in someone before asking them out. I think it's 'cause I personally go for long term, and the best way to make sure it has a chance of working is putting that effort in before even attempting a relationship. There's a mutual attraction. How do you tell? You can't really tell, you just feel it, I assume. I know I'm answering for him, which isn't too cool, so here's my opinion, maybe something along the lines of feeling comfortable around them, always having an easy time engaging in conversation, both of you, presumably, etc. I can't really tell myself though. I'm one that typically enjoys being friends with a girl first and then transition into dating. I have started dating people that I found attractive and connected with during conversation, but that isn't my go-to. In the case of my wife, I met her at work and became very good friends with her, watched her go through a horrible relationship with some English chap in which the BF treated her like shit, yelled at her, threatened her and got drunk constantly. One evening, to calm her anxiety and hysterics after a huge fight with him, I slow danced with her in the back of our work and sang to her softly. She's told me since that this was the moment I became way more than a friend in her heart. He was so controlling, he told her to choose between me, just a friend at the time, and him. She chose him and we lost contact for nearly 3.5 years. She fully deleted me from her life and I thought I would never see her again. Fun fact, I'm an actor as a lifelong side hustle and career. I was performing in Little Shop of Horrors. It was opening night and it was a full house. I come out as a homeless man for downtown and I sit next to the front aisle, light up a fake joint, and there she is, blushing and beaming. Forgot my fucking lyrics and froze. We stayed friends through another couple relationships and became best friends, and I decided to finally go for it. We've been married 5 years, take a chance and ask her out. Friend zone survivor. This is really romantic. I bet you know this already, but as someone who ended up being in a crappy relationship with a guy that wasn't nice to me, it took me many years to be healthy enough to pick and have a healthy relationship. It's just so awesome you cared for her enough to realize she was worth it once she was ready to have a healthy relationship. It can take time to get over and trust again after an emotionally abusive and controlling relationship. It's nice both found each other when you were ready. I hope you two have a beautiful life together. I tried to psych myself up, but that didn't work. Then I realized that getting rejected was better than never knowing the answer. I'd rather have a "I am flattered, but no" than to be thinking about that one girl 5 years later. Because if I get rejected, I'm not going to be thinking about her 5 weeks later. I see you have a healthy relationship with getting rejected. I still think back on occasion to the time in 2008 when I got rejected for a job because I was too smart for this work and I should go make something better of myself, and it still stings. Still. The sting is better than "what if I had gone to that interview?" Like Ariana says, I see it, I like it, I want it, I got it. Usually they were friends first for me, sort of like friends plus. We were usually in a situation together, work, hobby, event, something, ended up liking each other. If I gauged there was some possibility of more there, I'd ask. Usually got a first date at that point, and that was when we'd see if we really liked each other, or if we only really worked in whatever environment we met in. A lot of times that was the case, but some worked out long-term. This is why my standard dating advice to friends is to go out and do things you're interested in. Meeting someone while doing something you're both into automatically means you have that in common. We have to have great conversation and some kind of mutual attraction. I need to like and admire something about them. Also need to be pretty sure they're not in the wrong place on the crazy hot matrix. Only if she shows interest. The hard part is deciphering whether or not she is attracted. If there was a way to know 100% of the time, I would feel so much better about asking a girl out. If you think that she might be, then that's already the sign you should ask. You can never know, otherwise. Oh man, this is way more complicated than a short answer. Every single scenario will be different to some extent, so, over time, you'll learn when is the right time and when is not. In the meantime, here are a couple of tips based on situation. *Random hottie at the bar or wherever. This is the toughest for me personally. There are a bunch of BS signs that most girls think are obvious, but they totally aren't, and you have to play this cat and mouse game where you send vibes across the room until you are drunk enough, have worked up enough courage to walk up to her and start a convo. Then you have to parlay that conversation into a date. This is tough and most of my friends are not great at this, although it can be done. It's extra difficult because if they aren't into it, and you misread a bunch of stuff, you can come off as a creep or worse. If she says she's not into it, be a gentleman, say you're sorry and leave her TF alone. Asterisk a friend, I've had better luck in this department. If you're actually friends with her, find her attractive and believe that she has shown interest in you, then go for it. When you are around someone a lot and you actually pay attention, you will know when they are interested or not based strictly on their behavior. The caveat here is that if they aren't interested, you just made it super awkward. Hell, I've asked mutual friends in the group if I should go for it or not. Asterisk the friend of a friend, this is where I've gotten 85% of my dates. This has the benefit of not being someone directly in your social circle, but they have a first-hand witness in the mutual friend that can vouch for you and hold you accountable if you're a douche. It's a nice safety barrier that adds a level of comfort. I believe this is called the grandma rule, in that you wouldn't treat a girl that your grandma set you up with poorly BC. It would get back to her and she would ask, "Why'd you fuck Tiffany?" then leave her crying alone on her bed. There is also generally someone to help break the ice at the beginning since this isn't a total rondo. Happy to talk about other scenarios I've been in or answer questions. If she asks me first. Wish it were like that more often. Yeah, so a lot of men have this thing that spirals out of control in their head, including me. They see a cute girl and I think like, damn, she is cute. I then keep noticing her. I start to feel that I see her more often because I start focusing on her. She stands you. Then there comes this point that every time she enters the room, or passes me in the hallway, it feels like clouds are parting and some bright light passes me. She arisens my senses when I spot her. Something starts to build up in my head. Something is snowballing. I start to contemplate, should I ask her out? Should I talk to her? Then this weird law of attraction thing starts to happen, not the bullshit law of attraction thing from the book The Secret, but more like that your focus on her allows you to find openings or opportunities to get to know her, or talk to her, and then there comes this inevitable point in where you should cut the bullshit and show her that you're interested or ask her out if she gives you indicators that she is interested too. Same for me, and I'm a woman. Meeting my boyfriend was terrifying because it was literally infatuation at first sight. His presence alone made my heart pound and my cheeks turn red. I tried to reel my feelings in because I was with someone else, but it was like an obsession I had absolutely no control over. I wanted to see him and be around him all the time. We met at college and it got to the point that I was looking over my shoulder for him everywhere I went on campus and nonchalantly hanging around places I knew he and his friends went. He became all I could think about and I felt like such a creep. Thank God the feeling was mutual. I'll consider asking her out when 1. I'm attracted to her 2. She's within my league 3. She's receptive and enthusiastic when we're chatting. Spent a decade bartending and one thing I learned from watching people out drinking on Friday nights is that there is no such thing as leagues. I've seen some absolute trolls with some models. People just want what they want. Especially now that people see that their kinks aren't unique due to the internet, people just let their freak flags fly. Different for every guy. I know a guy who was friends with a girl for almost a year before asking her out, and I worked with a guy who would walk up to random girls and ask them out on the spot. Signs of mutual attraction, and it's not a situation where I'm shitting where I eat, or at least the attraction is strong enough to risk whatever social complications might result from rejection or things not working out. Greater than is it just seeing a girl who looks good in the right situation? When I was early 20s hunting girls in meat market clubs, maybe. As an adult, hell no. Looks are just one facet of it. I need to get some glimpses into her personality. Greater than, do you have to be her friend first? No, or not for long. In fact, if I wind up becoming friends first, I'm probably not interested. It's difficult to describe, but if I'm interested, I'll either go for it, or keep them at an arm's length so I don't develop too strong of a platonic relationship as to close the door to something more. Purposely becoming someone's friend, and framing it as a platonic relationship, in order to get close to them and wait for the right moment to make a move, is kind of a creepy nice guy move. It's deceptive to her because you're presenting yourself as platonic when you have an ulterior motive. Especially so if you become close friends while she gets in and out of relationships, and you're just sitting there endlessly waiting for a vulnerable moment to confess. This is why I always get skeeved out when Redditors talk about confessing to their crush. I imagine most of these situations are what I'm describing. Greater than, or do you just start a conversation and if it goes well, ask her out right away? This. Start a conversation and if it goes well enough, ask to make plans to hang out again. Don't flat out ask for a number. You can, but the whole purpose of getting a number is to make plans, and something about making a plan to hang out rather than asking for a number seems more straightforward to me. It's only going to work if the conversation's going well enough, but as you get older and develop better social, dating skills, you'll be able to tell when it's going well versus when someone's just being friendly. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more Reddit stories like this.